Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Just
I'm
good?
not, yeah, I'm not really awake yet for some reason. I've been awake for almost 2 hours, and I'm just kind of still like trolling along this morning, just kind of.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, honestly. I got up and just felt like resistance to everything, right?
Hmm.
I think it's supposed to rain like all day, so I didn't even like check outside about for a walk,
Mhm.
And then I got up and I was like, just gonna take it easy a little bit this morning. I
Mhm.
started looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden I look up and it's like 7:40, and I'm like, oh well, there goes all that time. So
Yeah.
yeah, so no journaling has happened this morning. So let's see how
I,
this goes.
I sat in bed and read for probably 45 minutes just because I didn't feel like getting up, but I didn't want to go back to bed because I was
Yeah,
up. And I just sat there and read. And so I think that's part of it where I'm just kind of, I wasn't like against getting up. Like, oh no, I don't want to get up. I was just like, I don't really want to do anything that goes faster than 2 miles per hour at this point. Just kind of what.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So anyway, how was your day yesterday?
It was okay. Um, hold on one second. Uh, it was good. I mean, it's just like such a weird week after playing catch up last
Mhm.
week, and then Monday being weird because of the power going out again.
Mhm.
And yeah, just kind of a weird week. Not the week that I thought it was going to be. It's been a great week, like impact wise, mostly productivity wise. I've gotten a lot of stuff done. I've had a ton of meetings, and yeah, I don't know. I'm ready for a full week of normal. I think is my
Mhm.
thing. I think John has been just like rattled in the cage for like just enough
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
and now he needs a little bit of time to kind of get it back under control.
I get you. I know where you're coming from. Um, that makes me the normal word. Is that a trap for us to say we're ready for a normal week?
Maybe, right? Because yeah, like when I say normal, right? I guess we have to define what normal is, or else you're just like constantly chasing it and never finding it. So normal would just mean no statewide disasters, no power outages, and no plumbers having to come over, right?
Yeah.
Like I just want a week so that way I can do my 7:40 or really I guess my 6:45 to 5:30 routine. I want to do it every day,
Mhm.
and that's going to be great. Maybe next week.
Maybe next week. Maybe. Maybe not. We I lost power today again.
Did you really?
Yeah, we were out at school, right? So
Yeah.
it didn't affect me like it did you the day that it did you this week. But we got back and all the lights were blinking and the clocks were, I'm blinking, sorry, and stuff like that. So it's like, oh well, John wasn't the only one. Because we all
Yeah.
had some blips
No.
again this week. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
What do you got today, my friend?
it's a pretty jam-packed day.
Yeah. Well,
I've got,
yeah.
it's a pretty big one. I've got a couple client meetings, and two of them are one of our clarity sessions. One's a clarity of purpose. One of them is a like a story brand.
Oh, nice.
So I've got two of those spread out, and then I've actually got I'm not sure if I've talked to you about this. I do, as a service to people, I do find your why exercises from the Simon Sinek book. It's kind of things just how, because I love doing that stuff. So I have a guy I'm borrowing with who owns a massage place, and so I'm doing a find your why for him and his wife in exchange for like an amount of money at their shop, so I can get massages.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty dope. So I'm pretty excited to do it, number one, and then I'm pretty excited to get paid in massage.
Yeah. So not only is the work really exciting, payment.
Payment is fantastic.
I've never. Well, so like I've gotten a massage after a bike ride, but I've never gone to like a salon to have a massage before. Like I don't know that it would be the relaxing thing that I would want it to be. I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I was surprised the first time you told me that. But now knowing that you go float, I don't think there's really an excuse because it's the same idea. you're in a public place and you're in a vulnerable position of some sort, and either you enjoy the activity or you don't. Once you kind of get past, I think that public, I can't relax because I'm in public, because I don't have that problem. Bring it.
It's not I don't know. I haven't done it, so of course I'm making it into a bigger deal than what it actually is, so that way I can avoid doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, I think that I'm getting more into because I like experiential things, but I think I'm getting more into that. Like on Monday when our power went out, my neighbor down the block, his power also went out. He was walking his dogs, and he has a little girl. Her name is Lily, and she does jujitsu with Alice whenever jujitsu makes sense to be done. And he's a public defending attorney, so he's grown out this massive beard. It is epic. And I was like, man, your beard, holy crap! And he goes, you got to go see my guy. I'm like, you have a guy? Tell me about your guy. And he goes, oh, it's this guy, blah blah blah. And was just talking about. He goes, don't go in there if you're in a rush. I said, what do you mean? And he goes, this guy's going to take his time. He's going to talk to you. He's a craftsman, right? Is how he approaches this. So it's going to be an hour of him working on you and stuff. And I was like, that sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. You know?
Yeah.
So I now have his information. And he goes, it's a little expensive. And I was like, oh Lord, here it is. Okay. Yeah. How much is a little expensive? And he goes, $40. And I was like, oh, that to me is not expensive. So,
that's see for me it is. I mean, I'd still pay it because I know what I'm getting. I feel the value exchange is fair, but $40 to treat my hair feels expensive. But compared to a woman.
So it's weird. A handful of years ago, we started, or we did a website for an agency here in town called Gold Waves, right? Awesome place. They do, at the time, something that I'd never heard of before about how they bring in their stylists and how they coach them up and everything. And so in addition to payment for the website, they gave us some free haircuts, right? To come in, experience the place, the whole process. And I have what I feel like is odd hair, right? And I've always not really liked this tumbleweed on top of my head until the COVID thing happened, and now I kind of like it. And so what I found was that going to an actual salon.
That's fair, right?
No wonder $40 seems like a lot. I mean, you're getting 1/4 of the work that I'm getting.
Yeah, well, and I have a friend I used to work with that has a barbershop down off of I forget what it's called, Montgomery and JMO, Jonathan Morris, and he's part of the Magnolia Network. And
I know. I'm a huge Jonathan Morris fan, and I think it's $40 to go get a haircut and a beard trim for me.
I got a beard trim and it cost me $32.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Good work, right? Good work doesn't come cheap.
No, and
cheap
good for
work
him.
is never good. Yeah.
Good for him. Yep.
Anyway,
guess what? I go twice a year. I support him. I go twice a year.
What's funny is I sometimes don't. I'm not a very thrifty person, right? Okay. And that only shows up whenever I'm talking to you and Levi, because Levi's also not my mom was a hairdresser. I've never paid for a haircut in my entire life. That's nice. I'm okay with that. And honestly, with the James Ryan Thorne beard, you could have any haircut you want. Honestly, no one's making it past this area on James at all. It's just
he's like my eyes are up here. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. So so I've never had a massage before. One time after a bike ride, I got one, but I've never done the whole thing of naked on the table and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. I also think of it kind of like a meditation exercise for me, because I take it to a spot where I'm trying to control my breathing. I'm trying to really take myself to a mental state where I'm not unconscious, but how you're in that state, and then the massage just becomes the way that my body there, because I'm already trying to take my mind and my breathing there. That's
dope. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
So I love it. I get excited. Clearly, I mean, how much more have you heard me talk besides food and maybe shoes? Because I try and keep it off the air here too, because I don't know how many shoes I have. Besides food and shoes, what else have I talked to you for more than like 6 minutes about?
I mean, marketing, positioning, message.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, that's a given, right? Outside of the main thing. Yeah.
Okay, so you're not making it sound like you have a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought that was clear.
Well, I know you like shoes, but like I know you grab them and you rehab them and then you resell them. So whereas I just have a collection of shoes that I don't collect or that I never like resell. So
you know the shows, like for example, like the guys that cars, right?
Yeah.
Like they'll have the shows where they have like a junk and whatever, and they take cars and they rehab and whatever. None of them ever have 3 cars, right? If they rehab something, they have 30 cars or 300 cars.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they love them so much. So I'm going to put myself in somewhere in the 3 to 300 range. But I have more than 3. I have more than 10, I'll say. But I'm not.
This is going to sound weird, but I have 32 pairs of shoes.
Okay. Yeah. That's a lot of shoes.
I mean, it is, but like, it sounds like more than what it is.
Oh, that was such good rationale. Oh, God, that was good.
Like, okay, so as
I have 32 girlfriends. It sounds like way more than it actually is.
No, man. Because when you're an adult, like your feet are not constantly growing. So as long as you have a couple of pairs of shoes, you cycle through them. They last a little bit longer, and then you kind of get into shoes, and you buy a couple more, and then they outlast even longer. And one day before the week of Snowpocalypse, I got to go out someplace with the family and got to wear like a pair of my Tribe Called Quest Vans, which I've not been able to. Well, there's no real need to wear because I don't really leave the house, but so one day we were all counting because Melissa was like, you got to have so much more. No wonder I'm terrified of moving. Levi, hold on, guys. Okay, hold on. I got to show this to Levi because I was showing it to someone else the other day, and they were astounded. So the book collection, like back here behind me, right? Everybody's always like, oh my God, man, you got so many books. And I'm always like, well, this is the stuff that we're not allowed to put in the real actual collection. And they're like, the real actual collection? Mm-hmm. What does that even mean? And then I got to show them this. Right. This is in my living room, guys.
Yeah.
Like, that's the real deal book collection.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Melissa gets to curate that. There's backstock back behind there. I mean, because like there's just not enough shelf space. So I would gladly move 32 pairs of shoes if I did not have to move those books.
Yeah.
So
books are the worst. Yep.
Does it take a special kind of moving company to handle all of the shoes properly? Levi, if you don't know that I'm going to move my own shoes by now,
exactly.
I question the quality of our friendship relationship at this point.
So it's fun. In my 20s, when I was a luxury mover, I was moving all those really rich people. We had special ways to move, like the snakeskin and like the really expensive type of shoes with muslin and tissue and all sorts of things that you wrap and then special type of padding because you don't want to crease the toe box and like all sorts of. I mean, there's a lot to it actually. I don't know if you're joking or not, but there's a whole sickness. I mean,
hey, we all have it.
Yeah, right? We all have something.
We all have something. I just happen to have
32 shoes.
Yeah.
Actually, you have 64 shoes, 32 pairs.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
but then
I'm in that range. I'm in a similar as you are.
I'm in this 311 fan group, right? And one of the guys just got a guitar that's very similar to the lead singer's guitar. Or I'm sorry, not the lead singer, but the guitar player's guitar. And just this past year, I've never had to get the guitar bug, but now I do a little bit. So I've been doing my thing, doing some research on amps and pedal boards and guitars and doing way more study than I should without having one. And one of the guys goes, man, I got a replica of his guitar. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like how much was that? He's like $7,000. And I was like, I love spending money on hobbies. Like I love it maybe more than anything else. And I've got this weird thing that I do that if I'm not adamant that I'm going to love this thing, I like to buy something that's going to be expensive enough that it like hurts. So then if I don't use it, it like kind of chafes me. But then also if I make the decision that I'm not into this thing, I can sell like a midline kind of model, right? If I buy the cheapest thing and then decide that I'm going to stick with it, I'm then going to have to upgrade, and I'm going to have to eat the cost on this thing because no one buys like the base model on like the secondary market. So
Sure.
my bicycle, whenever I got it, the first bike was like an $800 bike, and then the second bike was like a $1,700 bike, and it was a full-on road bike. And the reason for that was if I decided I didn't want to be a road biker, the bike was nice enough that I'd be able to sell it and not like eat it completely. So
it's good. It's good line of thinking, and it's very true to the way that you think. I think.
Yeah, it is. It's like
I'll be like, what's the best bike for me? Based
Yeah.
on what I'm about to do. Great. How much can I spend? No, I don't want to spend that much. I'm going to do this and make sure I like it.
Oh man, I go the other way.
I know.
I'm like, wait a minute. There's depth here. There's differences in qualities.
Exactly. Like I've already put 600 miles on my bike by the time you choose one. You know,
Dude,
like
absolutely, dude, absolutely, yeah. Jeff is, we were talking once, and he's like, okay, you at the top of the hill, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, man, you're like a kid on a bicycle, and you're just like hauling up this hill, and then you get to the top, and you gotta, how steep is that thing? Okay, now I'll go down the hill. But there's this moment of not being confident that I'm going to make it down the hill, so I've got to slam on the brakes initially. Is Jake frozen for everybody else? Is it just me? Am I frozen? No one else knows? Maybe I'm frozen. Yo,
Okay, we're back.
that was fun.
Yeah, Wi-Fi issues today.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Well,
closer to the router.
it's nice because like StreamYard, after it froze, I logged back in and it was like plugging in is better than Wi-Fi. I was like, thanks, Apple. Not even putting Ethernet ports in your machines anymore.
Yeah, as I say, easier said than done. I'm gonna go get like 6 converters.
The USB to Ethernet converter, the one thing no one wants to buy.
Right, that you have to search on Amazon for, and
Yes, exactly.
you know,
Yes.
6 days to get. Nobody has them.
Yes.
Okay,
Anyway.
sorry. We're back.
We're back. You're still a little jumpy, but I think it'll smooth out here in a second, like it normally does. Where were we? Oh, we're talking about shoes, bicycles. Yes, right. You get to the top of the hill. I apply the brakes because I got to check my facts to make sure that the hill's not too steep. Everybody else is just bombing the hill. Yeah, so you'd probably have a couple 100 miles before I ended up pulling the trigger on a bike.
Yep. But your resale though, your resale game is it's very tight.
Resale game is tight. Resale game is tight. But you know, I don't typically resell the stuff because I end up getting fairly into it, right? Or just enough to justify, you know, keeping the thing. Maybe not on the drone, but on like the bicycle and like, you know, jiu-jitsu and kung fu.
Yeah, that's funny because it's like from a learning style standpoint, it's not just personality because my learning style is experiential. I do best when I get in and like try things. That's how I learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I also need to go. It sounds really fantastic, but until I get in there, I don't really know how much I'm going to enjoy it.
No, yeah, absolutely.
So some of that going on too.
I'm just aware that really lazy, right? So like if I don't find some kind of like mindset thing challenge to like make it difficult, I'm probably going to get bored, right? Also, if I don't see some sort of accomplishment, right? Not like oh, I finished this thing, but there's got to be some sort of hard for just being hard is not fun, right? There's one video game that I rage quit. It's called Sekiro, and it's by the same guys who make like the Dark Souls games, which are notorious for being some of the hardest games ever created.
Yeah.
And I had this game for a while because it's ninjas and assassins and like stealth games, which I really like. And hardest game I've ever played. Like the first kind of like mini boss was like 6 hours of like work and dying and like watching video walkthroughs and still dying and over and over and over. And like I had to take a break, right? Like I'm gripping the controller and it's kind of creaking, you know, because like anger, like what is going on? Why is this so hard? And yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And so then I put it down for the day. I come back the next day or a couple weeks later and I'm still stuck on this dude. And then I finally beat him. And then I get to the first boss and it's like 10 hours of like trying to beat this dude over like a couple of weekends. And then one day I just get up. I'm like, nope. And I put down the controller. I get up. I walk across the living room and Melissa's like, what is going on? And I just walk up to the PlayStation. I hit eject, get the game out, put it in the box. Said, we're going to GameStop. And she goes, right now? And I was like, yes, right now. And she goes, why? I said, if I hold on to this game, I will talk myself into the fact that I can beat it. I can't beat this game. I've got to get it out of my hands or else I'm going to rage every time I think about playing it. So let's go. And she was just like, okay. So we all like hop in the car and I take it to GameStop and I sell it immediately. I bought something else. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
It's you know what's funny? Different people's level of interest in difficulty. I never thought that was a thing until I just, you spend enough time around enough gamers. Everyone has a different level of difficulty that they enjoy, right? So like, and part of it's my son's age, right? But my son wants to be able to beat things fairly quickly. It's not enjoyable for him if it gets super hard. Like he will grind all day to get a certain weapon he wants. He will spend 19 hours grinding out the most tedious tasks to get to this specific weapon he wants. No problem with that. But if it takes him more than 5 or 6 tries to beat a boss, nah, I'm good.
That's interesting to me. That's really interesting to me.
It is. And I am kind of the opposite way. Like if I can't go to a cave and open up a treasure chest and find my weapon, you will not find me smelding and doing all these things to get to this very specific weapon. However, I'll play a boss for 6 months. I don't care. Like because I can set it down and come back later and have like a fresh set of energy and go beat the boss. That's fine. Like, I'll love that. Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm not gonna like bail on the game because of it. So I have done it once, though. I'll give you that. I have done it once. I can't remember the game. I was in college, but I do remember in college pulling what you did, being like angry and like shaking and like the controller's creaking in my hand and never playing the game again. I was like, I will never ever give you the satisfaction of me beating you.
This is the only game that I've ever been that mad at. Like it's never happened like that before. And like I have no problem playing hard games. Like the game I'm playing right now, Assassin's Creed. I've got the difficulty ratcheted up. They have a really great way of doing the difficulty actually, because like they have it broken down into like different kinds of things, right? So you can have combat leveled up, you can have exploration leveled up, and stuff like this. So it's all broken out really nice. So I have it broke out and it's challenging, but I need to feel like I'm improving, right? Yeah. Like if I make slivers of improvement each time, then I will stay enthralled. I will stay happily there. Yep. But if it's just like, oh, spawn die. This is dumb. Yeah, fix it. Yeah.
At some point you go, okay, this game is not meant for winning. Like I literally have seen every walkthrough. I have used every cheat code, and I still can't get past this boss. And it's like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, not fun.
That's not fun.
No. Yeah. Wow, what a detour that was in video games.
Yeah, and that was just
I never think of you as a gamer for some reason, right? So like it's like every time you bring up, Skyrim, which is like your favorite game, I'm always like, oh yeah, Jake plays games.
I do. And I'm pretty specific on the stuff I like. So I am a gamer, but I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna go play. Yeah, let's just sit down and play a game. Like I like playthroughs and POVs and stuff like that. And I used to play, man, growing up, I played every single sports game alive, every single one, all of them, over and over and over. So, but I'm not that much into the sports ones anymore. So.
Okay. Yep. What do you have today? You said you have a full day, I think, right?
I do.
How's the writing going this week?
Fine. It's interesting, right? So I don't know how much of it's skill set and desire versus head trash. I don't enjoy. I enjoy translating information into bite-sized things for people to consume, right? Like more like I like using metaphors and illustrations, and like I like helping people understand more complex concepts and simplifying them, right? I enjoy that. I do that in training all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to going like extended and writing and keep writing and here's the green screen I'm not using.
Yeah.
That's really difficult for me. That's really, really a challenge. And so I'm looking at it that way as a challenge, a fresh challenge, something to push through, and a discipline that, can help me in other areas by pushing through this one. But I don't enjoy it like probably some people. Now, once again, I listened to the Seinfeld episode before you did and was like, oh my gosh, this is like pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, it's so good.
Pearls. But I still am like, he's right. It's the worst. It's the hardest.
So
for me,
I don't know. It at least the first one was not that big of a struggle, right? But then we're also wired pretty differently when it comes to like how we work and stuff. Like Jake is this like flash in the pan kind of guy, and when it like he'll hit the room and like dashes of brilliance, and then he's out. Right? I'm a grinder, right? I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna overthink it. I'm gonna overwork it. I'm gonna overdo it, but I'll be happy with it. But
underthink it and underdo it,
and still be happy with it, right? I mean,
right.
I mean, the whole thing that you were saying a second ago of you're gonna be 500 miles down the path on the bicycle, like while I'm still picking mine out. Mm-hmm. That's true, right? And that same thing happens in work, right? Jake is just gonna go try stuff, whereas I'm gonna go talk to lots of people about trying stuff. Carefully consider their opinions while I'm researching if I should do something.
Yep.
And then go.
Yep. And I've actually, one area that's where I've really been caught with my pants down is like from a like grammar and like typing accuracy more, because I know how to spell. Mm-hmm. Things like that, where I'll be caught in situations where I was doing the work for a client, and there will be a series of misses and some spots on some things that got delivered because someone else wasn't editing it before it was delivered to the client, things like that. And I've been called to the mat several times about that, even pretty recently, because it is not a strong suit of mine. I just don't see the errors when I'm doing it, right? Even
it's really hard.
2-3 times, I still won't see it. I'm just blind to you because you're blind to your own stuff.
Yeah.
And that's an area because partially probably because of speed. It's just you're never going to see it necessarily on a consistent basis, right? Whereas you in a heartbeat.
Okay, hold on. Okay, and that's not true. I just don't put myself in a position to where I have to edit as I'm creating.
Doesn't matter. I can write it and then go back and I can edit it and still miss it.
Okay, then maybe you shouldn't be doing the editing.
Well, exactly. But I'm saying I won't. It's not something I won't ever catch that stuff on my own writing because I can't see it.
Okay.
It's not a deadline thing. It's a skill set I think. Like I just can't see it.
What does that have to do with sitting down to write or getting new glasses?
Yes.
Nice one, Levi. Yeah. Levi's so clutch.
Yeah, quick-witted would be slow for him.
Yeah, he's quick on his head foot.
Yes. Sorry, what was your question? What's
why not just get a full-time editor? Just get a VA.
Well, I do. Absolutely. I don't always have the budget for an editor. I mean, because I create a lot. That's actually my strong suit is creation. Like I'm good at just generating and coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
I don't always have a budget.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But like if it, if this is something, huh?
I have one right now, so I'm good.
Well, and so you don't have one again, and you're getting called to the carpet for gaps in your writing, right?
Well, the time I didn't have one.
Okay, hold on, Jake. It sounds like this is not a problem, and I should just shut up about it.
No, yeah, I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing like a flaw of mine that I understand and I realize, and I have editors. Like that's
Okay.
why I have them, but I don't always 100% of the time have the budget or the ability to say, hey, I need this edited before it goes out because you know how business works. Like you don't always have the access to things you need when you need them. It's just
that's fair.
Real world.
I just realized that I'm incredibly spoiled that I have a full-time editor.
Yes.
And man, God, it's so good. It's so nice.
Trust me. I know I have a VA right now in the real estate business who does the detailed stuff because I will screw it up. I know it. I hired them. It's working great. I love it. I hope
That's awesome.
never give them up.
Yeah. Pay them all of the money.
Yes.
Right?
If I have it in my bank account, they get a portion of it for sure.
Mm-hmm. One time I was talking with a friend of mine, and he's an electrical installation dude, right? So he works on construction sites and everything. And he was in this rant about how like America was the best and everything. And then I messaged him and I was like, hey, like, what are you talking about here? And he's like, oh, if you're, you should only be hiring Americans to do your work and, and everything else. And I was like, it's like, okay, cool. And he goes, are you one of those guys who's like hiring people like from like other places? And I was like, yeah, I am one of those guys. Mm-hmm. And he goes, man, that sucks. And I said, well, why does that suck? And he goes, because America first. And I was like, okay, why? And he goes, because like, this is where you live. And I was like, true, that's totally fine. And if I only cared about people who live here, then I'm only concerned about paying for those people. But since that's not the case, mm-hmm. and I can pay someone kind of game-changing money, right? Like $400 to like $600 in the Philippines is like kind of game-changing money for some of these people. So versus paying someone that same dollar amount here and having to deal with like a very probably low standard of person, right? Because people want to make money and they have to make, and I can either pay someone here what they're worth, or I can pay someone less, but give them a life-changing experience and give them an opportunity to like earn and develop a skill set. And I don't need someone here. Like if I needed someone here, then I wouldn't be taking, the shortcut, but I just don't. So why would I do this? And he was just like, well, because man, you're supposed to like look out for like everybody else. And I was like, I think I am looking out for everybody else. So I don't know. It's just weird. Like points of view and cognitive dissonance. It's so interesting to me.
It's there. I can see both sides of that argument because
I understand exactly. I understand exactly where he's coming from, and I understand exactly why he feels that way. You got to zoom out a little bit more, is how I think about it. Right, the appropriate level of zoom is important.
Yeah, and you can zoom out and still have the same opinion. Because I understand the and still go American made. Whatever. Like, because once again, like this is why I love discussing this stuff with my son about economics. Mm-hmm. As you look at the macro picture and then zoom in, right? Versus obviously a lot of people just look at their own community and go, well, this is stupid. Like, well, if you change this, look what happens to your county and to your state. Then that's a bigger problem, or vice versa, right? But most people, I feel like on certain subjects just don't go to that extent to think about all that, which is what I think what you're saying is there's a picture typically.
But okay.
And like, for example, it's just like a real easy one everyone talks about all the time, right? It's like manufacturing. But let's do American-made manufacturing because that creates jobs that are solid and make sense and continue. And it's not like a one-time we sell it, we're done. It's consumption. It's like it's a good source for jobs for Americans, manufacturing, right? But you can get the material way cheaper, the labor cheaper overseas. Nike gets roasted for it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Arrested?
no, I said they get roasted.
Oh,
roasted. So there are, there's you could take both sides of that argument. If they're paying those people fairly, let's say they're not running sweatshops, right, and being roasted for being horrible people, but let's say they're paying them fair wages, and like you said, it's game-changing money for them. And if over here, like, yes, agreed, you're helping that group of people, and it's good, and it's a good price point for you, so it makes you can make more profit. Great, totally get that. Then there's the other side. Yeah, but this is actually could be really good for the United States if we brought this in. It would actually help us overall as an economy if more people did it. Okay, so which one do you pick?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
And this just goes back to what are you optimizing for, right? My buddy is optimizing for, American people like having jobs and income. Okay, great. I'm not optimizing for that point. I'm optimizing for, really the impact, because like people will say, hey, I would like to work with you. Okay, great. What do you want to work on? Well, I have no idea. Okay, I don't have anything for you.
Yeah.
But if someone comes to me and they say, John, I want to work with you. Okay, what do you want to do? Well, I want to do this. Okay, how excited are you to do that thing? Mm-hmm. Well, because you got to be pretty excited, because I'm pretty excited about the stuff I do, mm-hmm. and I'm going to be all over you, right? And not in like a bad way of like micromanaging or anything, but like I get really excited about the stuff that we're working on, right? And the stuff that we're building, and all of this. So if you're not excited, and man, God, I wish I could go back to like 2010, John. Whenever we worked at Chase, and we'd have the morning meeting, and I just like look at my shoes, mm-hmm. And kind of like punch that dude. But how you think about your work is important, and overall, more of the people that I've hired in like other countries have been more excited about the work than the U.S. people that I've worked with on projects. Is that true? Yes. As like the project leader, the Americans I worked with have not been as on the spot as other ones. So
that's fair. And what's interesting is, we're all optimizing for different things all day. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's actually fun. You get to have that conversation with that guy. So,
I mean, it devolved rather quickly, right? Sure. Because but like I'm fascinated by the point of view, right? So like it's like I'll go have conversations with people, not because like I'm trying to change their mind, but because like I'm really trying to like understand why they feel the way that they feel, so that way I can then try to put myself there and then try to figure out if it's helpful to me, right? So he blows up about this like thread, and then I message him, not to like try to talk him out of like how he feels about it, but just to like see if maybe my view of this is tarnished or a little too like inwardly focused and stuff. What's up, Ray? But yeah, I totally understand why he feels that way, and it's really easy to feel that way whenever you work in the kind of work that he does. I totally get that, right?
Industry matters too.
There's a ton. Industry matters a ton for sure. There's a jiu-jitsu company actually, and the owner of it was outsourcing his designs to someplace over in Pakistan or India or something else like this, and then went to like the top jiu-jitsu tournament in the world, and he saw someone wearing a pair of his pants, and it turned out the manufacturer he was using replicated it and was reselling it and stuff like this. And so that's when he decided to bring it all to the US, and they use like these like really old looms, and there's like this great story, but now all their marketing is about like how it's like American made. And while I think that's fantastic, there was no concern about it being American made until you saw that you were getting ripped off by like someone else, right? So that kind of stuff, I don't know, it kind of chased me a little bit, because it's like you didn't care before, but now you're making a really big deal about it, and that's marketing in general, right? You pull like this little bitty thread and then try to make it as big as possible.
Well, let's stop there, because that's your marketing stigma, right? You're trying to overcome a sales stigma of people being garbage and not caring. Mm-hmm. The marketing stigma that I think you just described there as well, right? Because that's not how I see marketing. I don't see it as you take one small thread and blow it up as big as possible and brag about it. You find the things that actually matter, and you make sure it's front and center, right? Because it's the things that matter to you and should matter to your customer. So
I think that's the way that it should be. I think
that's what I'm saying.
I think that lots of people take the thinnest of features and benefits and blow them up into like major features and benefits to try to like position themselves, right?
Compensation, because they're not doing all the work they need to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, so now we're talking about, I guess, like good marketing versus bad marketing. And I'm not saying that this company is doing bad marketing. I'm just saying that for as much of like a whole like we're American made.
I got you.
And then to find out that was not like a founding thing, and really it just comes from the fact that like someone else was like copying your design. It tarnishes it a little bit, like knowing the backstory. For me.
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between when someone's actually made a decision and changed their mind, and now they care about this thing versus this thing, or that's
marketing.
Like less of the time, it's more just, hey, this angle seems better, so now we're on board for this angle.
Absolutely right. And there's a line in jiu-jitsu that like angles create strangles, right? So I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody having an angle. Like I know one guy, and he really does not like Leon Bridges, and I was like, okay, I don't have any skin in this game. Why don't you like him? And he goes, well, he used to be a rapper, right? I said, no, I had no idea that he was a rapper. And he goes, yeah, he only sings this way because he found out that people like it and he can make money doing it. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, yeah, I hate that. And I was like, okay, totally fine. This guy is in a band, but works as a compliance officer for like a big financial firm here in town. So he's not optimizing for the same thing. Right, he gets to like stand on a soapbox and say like we're hardcore, we're never going to sell out or anything else like this because it's not paying his bills, right? I don't know. I just think that's so interesting.
Well, it's the description of human nature in that it's only offensive if it attacks our core values. Otherwise, we can get around like, I have no skin in this game. I mean, you said it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But what you were describing was, I feel like, the same phenomenon, just in an area you had no particular. You didn't care one way or another whether that guy's saying that way or not. It doesn't bother you that he chose to do it. But the same concept, of I did this because it works better and for no other reason. It's not part of my core value system. I'm going to do it this way because it sells more, more things for me or whatever. Mm-hmm. So until it hits us, in the home, most of us really don't care.
Yeah.
I think that's just human nature.
Yeah, I would agree. Right. There's that line that like no one cares until like it happens to them, right? If you're not like purposefully putting yourself into spots to like have a wider view, which is true, right? Because like, I mean, just speaking from experience, like last week, I literally thought it was going to be a day. One day of snow, it's Texas, not that big of a deal. Oh, we're going to have to get a hotel room. Okay, it's just for one day, not that big of a deal. This is Texas, it's just one day. And then Tuesday, oh God, this is going on for forever.
Sure. Hours to it, and it's an epic tale.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. It's this like becoming the hero within story, when it lasts more than one day.
Movies are like that too, right? You get from an hour and 56 to 220, and all of a sudden it's this epic tale at 220. Or 58. Oh, that's a nice quick movie. Wrapped it up.
It's so funny because we'll be talking about movies and I'm like, how about this one? And Melissa's like, I don't really want a long movie. And I'm like, this is 2.5 hours. And she's like, yeah, I know it's a long movie. Yeah. And I'm like, how about this movie? She's like, oh, that one's fine. Yeah. 2 hours.
Yeah, I say 203.
Yeah. No, man, I'm endlessly fascinated by how we get wrapped up in the views that we get wrapped up in and then become important to us. So.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like as a sales guy, right, I have to deal with this stuff all the time front and center because I'm having the conversations that marketing is not. Right. Because like, here's the thing that I think is really, really funny. Every marketer I know is dying for direct information from the target audience. What do you like? What do you hate? Why do you stay? If we were going to charge more, what would that look like? Blah, 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 everything else. And like salespeople are having those conversations all freaking day long, right? Even before you launch, because if you're doing like a biz devy kind of thing, you can go around and you can say, hey, we're thinking about launching this at this price point. If we were going to do these things, how much would it need to be for you to feel okay with that, right? Or you can go from the other way, blah, blah, blah. But salespeople are having all these conversations. They just need
Good-
to build the process.
Salespeople are.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. Good salespeople are having these very open-ended discovery conversations to where you can be informing marketing of like, hey, they had this question about this. Do we have any content around that? No. Okay, let's make some. Oh, that's fantastic. And so that way next time that can become part of the marketing, right? If you lose a couple of deals due to the fact that like people have this weird view about it, hey, maybe in the drip sequence, we need to write an email addressing this thing because it's killing all of these deals. So let's let these people opt out in an email thread as opposed to wasting the salesperson's time.
Yes.
But like
That's
people don't think about it that way. They're like, oh, the salesperson is just supposed to close, so just try to close, and you never get the feedback that is going to improve the marketing cycle.
Well, that's why you and I have been having these discussions for years, and finally decided, past just our own personal selfish want to be more productive in the morning, wanted to also talk about this sort of stuff, right? Because
Yes.
As a CMO or like a fractional CMO or whatever, I would go in and create these conversations exactly with companies and go, okay, what you need to do, guys, is the marketing director needs to go talk to the sales director, and then you need to get your top guys together or gals and have these conversations. And then I would facilitate them. And what I got to say, 80% of the time, the salespeople didn't have the information that the marketing people wanted. And so the marketing people never wanted to go back to the sales team. And they were like, see, this was useless. They don't have what we want.
Well,
But
so part of that,
because the salespeople weren't doing their job well and asking of
That's
questions that they needed to ask to get that information. And then that 20% or whatever that did, then you were dealing with personalities. So why would I share that information with them? And this is how I close. I'm not going to give them. They're on your team, bro. Like,
I know. Yeah, I know.
why would you hold that information from them? Well, what if my other salespeople find out? Well, they're on your team too. Like,
Yeah.
such competition.
I've never been that guy. Because like a lot of people talk about, if you're going to hire a salesperson, hire two salespeople, so that way you foster this natural competition between them. And like on one level of that, I think that there's value there, right? But like I think that the value there is just having someone who's going through the same things for you to practice with, right? In Kung Fu and in poker, and really and in all aspects of life, when you have like a training partner who's like going through it at the same level, at the same speed as you are, and you guys can work together to practice and improve and everything, and the improvement process is so much cleaner, so much better. There were two guys in Kung Fu whenever, like, I was already one of the senior students and one of the assistant instructors, and they were very different guys, right? Travis and John. John actually now works for LinkedIn, actually out in San Francisco. And so they were about the same height, about the same build, and they were about the same consistency, which was all the time. They were always there. So they were always paired together. So there wasn't this like, okay, like, how do you want to do this? There's this common language involved. There's common strengths, common concerns, common, and then also the balancing act. And these guys progressed so quickly once they figured out how to work together in this like very just kind of small mastermind kind of like situation of just these two of them, and just skyrocketed through like the first probably 7 or 8 levels of the system. So, right, there is something to be said for the right practice partner. But Chet Holmes talks about this in his book, which, man, I don't understand why this book gets the love that it does, but The Ultimate Sales Machine. He talks about having a team of people so that way the competitive ones will stay and the ones who aren't will leave. And I'm like, sure, yeah, you can totally do it that way if you want. But then that just fosters the old school sales environment of results only. I don't want any oversight. If I hit my numbers, it doesn't matter. And all of the stuff that, like, it does matter a lot these days, right? With remote work and everything else that's going on in sales and marketing needing to be connected and, all of the stuff. It's not, that has got to go and die. Has to. Let me tell you the other thing that he does that really, oh man, this is my pet peeve about Chet Holmes. He likes to bring in a salesperson for an interview and talk to them for a little bit and then be like, Jake, we're really looking for a rock star here. I'm not sure that that's you. To see, he does this, he advises doing this just to see if they're going to push back against your opinion, because that's going to make them a good salesperson. Seriously?
That's what that is a fair concept done really horribly wrong.
Really horribly wrong. Yeah.
Like, I get it. You want someone who's not going to back down because they get a no or because they get some pushback on your reasoning. Like, okay, cool. Well,
Mhm.
Hi, I'm sorry, this isn't for you. Like, you don't want that person. But yeah, that's a horrible way to do it. It reminds me of what's his name? Bobby, the Indiana basketball coach. Bobby
Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight. There you go. Like throwing chairs and hitting kids and all sorts of stuff. Claims behind closed doors. Like, he's actually a fantastic basketball coach. He is a horrible motivator of people because it's all fear, right? So it's like an idea. It's like,
Yeah, I read that line in the book, and I was like, I'm going to finish this because everybody talks about it, but this book sucks, right? You're starting off a relationship with just a game, with like just straight up manipulation. And if I'm that guy, right? If I'm gonna go talk to someone and they're like, yeah, John, we're looking for a rock star. I'm not sure that that's you. Okay, how'd you make that decision? Okay, that sounds like a good decision. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trusting that you have a really great view of the person you need for this sales role. And since the way that he talks about it is like you don't make it a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there is no question at the end of it. It's just I don't think that we're gonna do this. Thank you for your time. Okay. Yeah. It feels like you've made a decision. I'd love to know why, which is my improvement loop, and then I'll get out of your hair.
All right.
You've already made a decision. You want me to like come in here and it's so weird. And on some level, I talk to a lot of owners who feel this way about their salespeople. Well, I don't know what they're doing. So if I don't know what they're doing, this is why it's a commission heavy role. What do you mean it's a commission heavy role? Well, because I don't know what they're doing. So I'm not really sure that I'm paying. Okay. And the developer, who is writing all this code that you can't read, and is going for months and months and months before you see anything, like that's okay, but you need to have a daily report from your salesperson. Okay, that makes sense, right? And the developer is making 120 and the salesperson is making 40. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that makes sense. You either trust the people on your team or you don't. And if you don't, you need to get rid of them and find people who do, or find someone who can manage that team who you trust and let them pick the people that you trust to work with.
Right, but I think that's just the first half. You trust people you don't, but then you also have processes in place to make
of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to have both, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all I got, I think. For me today, because I don't think I'm talking about my day today. Yep. Let's see. I don't have anything until noon, so just blocking and tackling and catching up on so many tasks. And then I got a DM from a guy who, I don't know, this feels pitchy, but maybe that's just because he was like, man, I went and checked out your podcast. I'm blown away by it. It's like, thank you. We put a lot of work into it. And thankfully we've got like a great team working on it. And he was like, no way, man, I see the dedication. I see the effort. And I was like, cool, thank you. And he goes, I would love to talk to you. And I was like, okay, about? And he was just like, what did he say? I don't know where it is. He said something. He's like, well, I just like to learn more about what you do. And I was like, okay, man, here's the link, right? So, yeah, I'm assuming it's a sales pitch. We'll see. But then again, I assume everything is a sales pitch. So
I was gonna say you're Captain Skeptical, so I can see why you would. But then as soon as you said, I just want to learn more about you, I was with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Particular seems to be like the adopted phraseology right now of I don't want to tell you that I'm pitching you, so I'm going to tell you I want to learn more about you. Like, but yeah, okay, but why?
Yeah.
Like keep going.
Yeah. You want to learn more about me because you want to sell me something? Because
it'd be great to have you in my network. But why?
I would be okay with the networking answer. Right.
Because it's another common phrase I hear of, it would be great to have you in my network. Let's get on the call and see how we can help each other.
I'm taking that call for sure.
That sounds nice, but I can tell you about 75 to 80% of those calls I have are a pitch for me.
Oh, for sure. So hold on, right? This is the trick of the century, right? You take those calls, right? And you just set an agenda, right? You set an objective. Hey, what else you want to talk about? Well, I want to learn about you and everything else. Okay, great. Like, I would love to learn about you. And I really want to make sure that any referral I send over is a great referral. So should we start there? and sometimes it just kind of short circuits them, right? Because they're expecting this to be like a sales pitch you call, and they're trying to pitch me and they're trying to run their game, and then say, hey, I want to send you the best referrals I possibly can, and that requires me asking you some questions. Can we start there? And I've had people be like, yeah. And I'm like, isn't this why we're here? Oh yeah. This is why we're here. Okay, great. And so then I just ask them questions for about 30 minutes about who their target market is, who they're trying to help, and everything else like this. And so then I say, great, okay, awesome. How's that going? And then we talk for a little bit. I said, can I tell you who I'm looking for? They're like, absolutely, right? And then I go through the thing and I do my part of it. And I was like, cool, like this is really great. And then if they're like, well, I want to show you this thing, since I've already collected all the information about who their target market is, if I don't fit into that stuff, I just say, hey, I'm not a prospect for you because of this and this and this. And you don't get to argue with me because you just told me who you're looking to meet. Mm-hmm. And when I don't meet those things, I then get to say, hey, I'm not a prospect for you. Well, I would like to show, well, why? I'm not a prospect for you.
Yeah. It's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Easy. And then I say,
doing that.
And then I say, hey, how's your targeting going for this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, you're targeting. Like, are you talking to the right kinds of people often enough? I'm like, well, I think so. Okay, well, how many people are you talking to that are just like me? Well, most of the people. Well, if I'm not in your target audience, why are you talking to mostly people who are just like me? And then we get to have a conversation.
Totally, I get it. But I think that's where the loop closes for me, is when I get those pitches, I'm not having that conversation unless it's in my target market. I'm not going to go through all of that just so they can pitch me, so I can filter them so that they can. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying I'm not having those conversations. Like, that's a big difference. But back when LinkedIn was blowing up and all these people were getting, the people that I grew up with on LinkedIn, I have 20, 30, 50,000 followers, and I have 7, 8, 9. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to have all those conversations and accept all those. Largely because I'm lazy. I didn't want to have all the conversations.
Yeah.
So, I knew the algorithm was going to punish me eventually to some degree, because your connections matter and who, your stuff gets shown to.
That's fair.
Big generic pool, then they're not going to know who you're trying to reach from an algorithmic standpoint with your content necessarily, or who the right fits are, because you're accepting everybody. So
that's really interesting. I never thought about it like that.
And it was someone else who told me that. It was like Michaela Alexis, or somebody who's actually done the deep dive and been in the LinkedIn building and talked to the right people. And they're like, yeah, this is this is part of their algorithms. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So then it just justified my lazy. Yeah. I do not want to have 9 conversations. I want to have 3.
I don't know. I think that being a sales guy first, I'm okay with like a certain volume of conversations that's probably more than like a marketing driven person is okay with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
for sure. Well, we're at the hour mark, so
yes. So hold on. So I have that meeting, and then you and I have a meeting, and then I have a CRM consultation call with a good friend of mine, Josh Long, and then I have a networking call with maybe the best networker I've ever networked with ever. Her name's Crystal Cardwell. She's really, really good at it. And then I have a makeup from Monday with Brandon. So full day or full afternoon, but the morning I should be able to get some work done.
Cool. Well, blocking and tackling now till noon should be fun.
Yes.
Thanks.
Good morning. Thank you to Ray and to Levi and to Michelle and to James for hanging out. Any of you lurkers out there, don't lurk. Say hi. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
Fine. We only don't at you. I'm a doubter. It's okay.
All right, man. Do you need anything today?
Nope. I'm set. I'm all locked in my calendar, so we're good to go.
All right, man. Well, let's go get it.
All right. Have a good Friday. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers.